Hi there, this is Jacob Nash. This is a review of Module 30, Observational Learning. I already recorded this one time and it had no sound, so kind of frustrated right now because of that. Okay, so what is observational learning, aka social learning? So that's the same thing. This is just learning by observing others, so that's what it sounds like. And the process of doing that is called modeling. So as you can see, these people are modeling their parents. It's important to note that this is somewhat what causes gender typing. Well, we didn't talk about that yet. That's in a later module, but basically, why is there even really a difference between the boy and girl? Obviously, there's some biological things, but it also has to do with this. Okay, so Bobo doll experiment. This was pretty much what essentially started this study of observational learning. So Bandura, who's was the one that did this experiment, he just wanted to see if these kids would copy what the teacher was doing. So let's see.
The model pummeled a doll with a mallet, flung it in the air, kicked it repeatedly, threw it down, and beat it. It was once widely believed that seeing others vent aggression would drain the viewer's aggressive drive. As you can see, exposure to aggressive modeling is hardly cathartic. Exposure to aggressive modeling increased attraction to guns, even though it was never modeled. Guns had less appeal to children who had no exposure to the aggressive modeling. The children also picked up the novel hostile language. The room contained varied play materials.
Okay, so hopefully that had sound, but what you need to get out of this is that you need to know that this experiment showed us that children do repeat what they see. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. Okay, so let's talk about mirror neurons. This is just a theory, but it's a theory that there's things called mirror neurons that fire in the frontal lobe. When performing certain actions and when observing someone. So they're basically observatory neurons. So have you ever heard the saying, monkey see, monkey do? The first time I heard this, I didn't know what it meant. And it was when I was in about kindergarten or first grade. I had a substitute that was named Miss Dorothy. She had, she was older. Don't know if I just said that. I'm kind of tired right now. And she had glasses. Well, that's not the point. But anyways, she was like no monkey see, no monkey do. And it was after some kids threw sand at each other. And I was like, huh? What does that mean? And it comes from this, the fact that in this experiment at least, this monkey over here, sorry, my mouse went away, had a screen and it knows what to do. It knows it will tap what icon it needs to get a banana. This one doesn't know, but it's looking at what it's doing. It's seeing and it's doing. So that's what monkey see, monkey do means. So we just need to know that this type of learning also works for animals like monkeys. And now let's talk about the effects of modeling. So there's pro-social and antisocial. So pro-social is anything that's positive or good. So our modeling does have an effect on children. So pro-social example would be a kid sees that his mom went across the street to help an older woman with her groceries. So then maybe that kid will do that later on. So that's a good thing. But unfortunately, a lot of the things that happen are bad, or some of them at least, that from modeling. And there are 4 things that could cause these negative things. So there could be bad parents. So often kids that were abused are more likely to be abusers. That's a known fact. And then violent video games. There's a reason for rating systems in movies and games, and that reason is that it's not just random. It's not like traditional, like, oh, that's just what someone thought. Like, no, there's actually science that proves that the reason why they have the rating systems. For example, some things are rated R because they assume that some of the behaviors in the movie that a child could try to do. So, for example, foul language. That's not the worst thing, but you might not want your child just using foul language all the time or knowing it. But then on the worser side, if that's even a word, violence. Some movies that have violence. There was a 12-year-old boy that I heard about that he accidentally killed a 6-year-old girl. And why? When the police asked him why, it was because he said, well, the girl was saying stop, but I didn't stop because in my game that I play, they don't stop until it's done. So, and like I said, that kid was 12. So you might think that's just some random circumstance, but there really can be extreme things like that. I think the person that did the Sandy Hook shooting back in 2012 was found to have had many violent video games in his home. And so we just never know with these things. So we got to be careful what the models become. Are the models going to become games and movies, or are the models going to become the parents? And if so, then it's got to be good parents. So if you see on a like brighter note, if you want to say, this is kind of the opposite of this grocery example.
All right, look, I'll tell you what. I'll give you $50. Now be reasonable. You cannot turn down $50 for a $6 rye.
No, watch me.
Give me that, all right.
Stop it.
I want that ride, lady.
Help! Someone help!
Shut up, you old pig.
So if that was a model, then a kid might end up stealing groceries instead of helping with them. So, well, okay. Let's look at some questions. Learning by observing others is called observational learning. Create an example of social or observational learning. Remember, those are the same thing. Mayu's daughter learns how to heat up food in a microwave by watching her mother push the buttons on the microwave. Which neurons in the frontal lobe fire when performing certain actions or observing another doing so? That's the mirror neurons. What did the Bobo doll experiment demonstrate? Remember, we need to know that it demonstrates how children often try to mimic what they see their models doing. Create an example of modeling. Early son sees his father rolling the trash can down the driveway and later takes his toy trash can to the end of the road like he saw his father do. When is pro-social modeling effective? It is most effective when the results are helpful and constructive to the person that is modeling the behavior. The actions and words must also be consistent. So we got to know consistency is key for any type of learning. What's another name for social learning? I already said observational learning. It's the same thing. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Hopefully